Yeah. Gotta get there fast, Sean. Yeah. Gotta get there fast, Sean.
Hello Britball Nation and welcome to our Division 1 Power Rankings following Week 5 of the BUCS American football season. They're late, we know, and our apologies for that, but there's just been so much Britball going on lately that it's been tough to keep up. But still, we're just about getting these in ahead of the Week 6 matchups, and our rankings being torn apart by their results on the field once again. Our thanks go out to all the teams that shared highlights with us this week, and if you or your favourite Uniball team is featured in our content, we'd thank you even more if you can give us a like and maybe even a share on Facebook or on Twitter. All that said, let's jump into the Week 5 Power Rankings for Division 1. We'll get the ugly bits out of the way first. The UClan Rams drop out of the rankings this week. They're probably the best team in Division 1 with a losing record, but we've got no room in the rankings for a team that's not winning. Honourable mentions go out to the Falcons and Immortals, who sit neck and neck in the 1A Southeast, a conference where the three top teams are currently separated by games won by a single point and in overtime, and also to the Surrey Stingers and Northumbria Mustangs. Surrey are tight on the heels of the conference top in Portsmouth, who they lost out to 13-14 in Week 2, while the Mustangs have overcome two early losses to move to 2-2 after a shock win over the Hull Sharks and dominating the Sunderland Spartans last weekend. If they can keep putting up 30 plus points in a game, expect the Stangs to enter the rankings in the second half of their season.
10.
Sharks hold on to a ranking spot, just barely, pretty much only due to the fact that they put up a 50 burger over Newcastle in Week 2, and so we know just how much offensive potential this team has. They lost to Northumbria in Week 4, but have a chance to prove that was just a slip up as they take on the currently undefeated Glasgow Tigers on Sunday in Glasgow. A win for Hull will have huge impact on the shape of the 1A North, while a loss likely sees the Sharks wave goodbye to the rankings.
9.
Carnegie caught our attention with their win over the Sabres and have now really turned some head after a fourth quarter victory over the UClan Rams last weekend. They've got a small roster, but it's beginning to fire on all cylinders, especially as some of the veterans come back from pre-season injuries. This Sunday they'll look to pile on the pain against the Manchester Tyrant side that's looking out of its depth in Division 1 so far.
8.
Wolves take their first loss of the year but hold on to a power ranking spot courtesy of that loss coming against the hot pick for promotion coming out of the north, the Scholar Dollars of UNAF. The Wolves deserve some credit for their performance on Sunday as they more or less held their own through much of the day, at least on defence, even if their O struggled to make plays. They returned a kick-off for a score, and the reality is that a lot of points from Nottingham came piling in late in the game, so the 28-7 scoreline may not overly accurately represent what happened on the field.
7.
Exeter take a big win away from the Redhawks, and unless we see some upsets in the second half of the season, the 1A Southwest is beginning to look like a two-horse race between the Demons and the Cobras. Exeter narrowly lost out to Cardiff in Week 1, having held the lead for the majority of the game, and the Week 9 clash between these two will more than likely decide the conference. First, however, they have a trip to Filton to take on a UE Bullets side that are likely starting to get nervous about the prospect of relegation, and we know a beast can be at its most dangerous when backed into a corner, so don't count out the Bullets just yet.
6.
Pythons go into the mid-season lull perfect after completing their 3 pre-Christmas fixtures with confidence. They come back from the break for 5 straight however, so there's still a lot of ground to cover before Cambridge can snag themselves a conference crown, and the 3 teams at the top of the 1A South East could not appear more closely matched than they have so far this year.
5.
The Cobras look to remain undefeated going into Christmas as they travel to Solent on Sunday. The last time these two teams met there were fireworks, so the Cobras came away with a 2-score win, 32-20. However, since then the Redhawks don't appear to have progressed as they would have hoped, and having seen Solent shut out by Exeter last weekend, Cardiff will be confident heading into this first return fixture for the 1A Southwest.
4.
It might be chilly north of the wall, but Glasgow are getting hot. They had no difficulty dispatching Newcastle at the weekend with a 28-6 win, their dominance personified when bruising running back Lewis King slowed down on his way to the end zone just to truck an extra raider. They're certainly looking like one of the favourites to reach the Northern Final and pitch their 3rd straight undefeated regular season, but first they need to deal with the upstart Hull Sharks who come to town this weekend. A win will lock the Tigers into a top 3 spot.
3.
The first Southern team to 4-0 after their win over Sussex at the weekend, the Destroyers seem to have set a course for back-to-back promotions. They've now taken a win away from each of their conference rivals, and only the Stingers really pushed them hard. In a similar vein to their national championship winning days, the Destroyers are building their victories upon an elite defence, conceding an average of less than 5 points a game through their first 4 fixtures. With the final 3 of their remaining 4 fixtures played at home, Pompey are setting themselves up for a strong run down the stretch if they can maintain form.
2.
The Warriors looked almost casual in their 28-2 win over the Barneys at the weekend, but they'll need to make sure they don't get complacent over the Christmas break as their conference is a dangerous one. The Rams ran them close in their last meeting and Carnegie are building momentum. Still, undefeated and ranked 3rd in the tier in both average points for and against going into the break is nothing to be shy about.
1.
On Sunday, Nottingham squared off against the one team in the 1A Midlands that looked as though it might rival them for the conference crown, but the former Outlaws handled the Wolves convincingly. It took them a while to get going against a strong Warwick D, but Patrick Daly and Jacob Amadi were relentless, wearing holes in the Wolves' defence as the game wore on to come away with a statement 28-7 win. UNAF enter mid-season ranked 1st in both offence and defence in Division 1. There you have it, nation. Things are really starting to heat up in Division 1 and we doubt even the 6 or so weeks off over Christmas will be able to cool things down. Do you agree with our picks? Are we underestimating the South to only have 4 teams in the top 10 compared to 6 from the North? Let us know in the comments down below. Please make sure to give this video a thumbs up, it really helps us reach a wider audience, and make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. We've got one more batch of rankings before the mid-season break, so why not let us know what sort of content you'd like to see while we're lacking innumerable fixtures to destroy our rankings and talk about in the scoop. Make a suggestion in the comments down below and get your friends on board giving the idea a like, and if it gets enough momentum behind it, maybe we'll even make it happen as a special festive treat. In the meantime, as always, play hard, play safe, and go check out our scoop of the past weekend of Britball.
That is definitely bigger than the last one.